I'm Ellie and I live in Lyme Regis, and I've been on the Daisy mentoring programme for the last year with B Sharp, mentored by Jack. Year 6 I did a project with B Sharp, and then after that I was on this really big buzz about it, and I remember coming home and my brother was like, oh, you know that you can come every week now, because I'd done one thing and I thought that was it and it was over, and I was really upset. But yeah, so I then started going to the weekly sessions, and yeah, just I loved it from then on. I think throughout the whole of school, I went to the Hub Jam sessions and we did quite a lot of performance-based stuff, which was great compared to school where we didn't do as much as that, or it wasn't as relaxed. And then became a trainee near the end of school. I went to Falmouth and studied music for 3 years, and in my last year looked a lot into music and the mind with my dissertation, so that got me thinking about music with early years students and the amazing impact it has on people that small. In a way it was the perfect opportunity to come out of uni. Like, I can't think of a better thing I could have done with this year. It was just the way that it was so many different ages. It was in schools, it was in, youth clubs for mental health reasons or for performances, working towards performances. It was just so many different things. I would never have thought that would have been possible. So the way the year worked was that Jack was my mentor from B Sharp, so the start of the term I observed what Jack was doing and kind of sat within sessions, which I think was really valuable. And then it kind of moved more to doing small tasks where I'd take over leading, and then by the end leading as much as you can. So each week we'd have a meeting and talk through anything, maybe like a plan of an early years thing and how I could get involved. And I think actually the mentoring within the early years was great because Jack suggested, instead of just saying, right, you can do this one bit in the session that's just completely random, like off you go, your turn, he decided that maybe actually if I started with a good morning and a goodbye song and then slowly work my way in of how would that link to the next thing. And so that was a really great thing for having someone to talk to and suggest new things and say, have you thought about this? And so yes, it's been great. And actually, although this term would have been the bit where I was leading, we've set up an online Facebook group which has reached I think 80 members now, called Little Bees for the early years. So we've been posting videos on that, and he's kind of said, you can take lead on it and I'll just help you through. And yeah, it's been really, really important, I think, to be able to talk to him. But I think without having that observing part at the start, I probably wouldn't have noticed as much as, what I've got to now. That's the most important thing, I think, was having the time to actually reflect on it. One of the main things going into this, I realised, is how much I loved planning and how much I loved having a structure for how I'm going to do everything. And I always thought, if you've done your planning, you'll be fine, nothing can go wrong. And I think now I've got to here, I definitely feel a major change in that part, whereas I've learned that you have to be adaptable because there's no way you can do all the planning you want to, but you get into that situation and things could be completely different, and you just have to be able to work on the spot. And I think it took me a long time, I think especially with the early years, because I just felt like if I wasn't planning things through and knew exactly what I wanted to do, I didn't have control over the session and it might go mad. It definitely has taught me that actually, if you're not fixated on that plan in your head and you're actually watching for what's going on in real life, and actually maybe let's not do that now, or this is going really well, why should we stop it if, just to move on to the next thing. And I think on my own I probably would have been constantly worrying and trying to follow my plan to make sure that I was on track, but actually having Jax there was so good because he'd be able to say, oh look, this is going really well, why don't we try a different thing on it? Or they're obviously liking this activity, so let's, keep going on that. In my head I'd be thinking, yep, the plan. And so I think that just being adjustable to the situation and that across different age groups as well, and how we should approach that. I think the main thing I was trying to say was creating, making sure you have that balance between you leading and it being your song and my group, and and them actually being able to feel like they can say an idea about things. I think just making sure that they feel like they own the song and it is their work. By the end of it, you've just guided them through, you've not pushed them towards anything. And that was something that across everything actually was a big learning curve. Working in so many different settings, so many different age groups, you kind of have to have gained some confidence by the end of it, because you've been in so many different things that from the start, I'd only been in maybe one placement for I think 6 weeks, so I didn't really know anything different from there. But actually doing this, it's going from under 5s to 18-year-olds, and so I think the wide variety amount of work there is has definitely improved my confidence. And I think with running smaller groups on my own, which was something that felt like a terrifying thing to do before this year, actually having that experience behind you kind of does let you become more relaxed and take the time, like I said this year has, take the time to actually observe and look at maybe who might be struggling in a certain area, or even something that I'm not leading. I think I've always got that hat on of who might need help or who isn't involved. Maybe the next step was thinking, right, where am I needed within that? Where should I go? I think the whole way that the year worked out with that, starting with observation and then, reflecting constantly throughout the year was such a positive way of learning. And I look back on how I was at the start to now, and I feel like there has been a massive change. I think the most important thing was that time, and it did just give you the time to really get fully engrossed as well and take up every opportunity. I've always been interested in anything that involves music, but I think maybe the big factor in it is that how can I help people using music, using it as like a vehicle to improve language or communication and things like that. And I think looking at my dissertation, it maybe made me realise the impact across early years, and I looked at autism and dementia. It was like such a wide range of things to be looking at and how it impacts everyone. And also that's not everyone's impacted by music personally as it is as well. So I think maybe it was being able to see people change through music and in a positive way and really grow. Maybe it's I want to be a part of that process. And I guess that doesn't really matter what age or what route I go down. It's just that is the main thing that I want to do. Without having the mentor there and trying to do it on your own, you wouldn't have that support, and you wouldn't be able to try things out. And I don't think I would have been as confident to try those things. And I guess if you didn't try them, you would never have known if they would have worked. And so I think having somebody there to observe you maybe as well is really beneficial.